Once we got the axles back from a complete and total rebuild, I assembled the brake system, I put all the suspension together, I got the drive shafts on, and got this thing ready for tires. Who's ready to see this truck move under its own power? Aside from things like seat belts and the glove box, there's a reason you don't put all this stuff in there. If you do it now and you complete the interior and you have an issue with something mechanical, all of this has to come out. So you don't do this before that. That's most important. Also, we've got the four-wheel drive controls that all need to be wired in. We got a good handle on that. That's coming after I get the engine happy. Right now the engine's not happy because when you connect the OBD2 scanner and you tell it to read codes, it gives you a bunch of complaints that you have to answer, and you got to answer them one at a time. So basically what's happening is the engine has codes because it thinks it's still in an F150. And the ECU, while we had this altered so that it would run in this truck, they also delete segments of it so that it doesn't have emissions, for example. So the computer says, hey, your emissions isn't working. Yes, we know that. It won't turn on your check engine light, however, because of the way that the ECU is reprogrammed. I do have to put all of the dash controls still together, but again, you don't bundle all that up. That's at the end. You got to get the engine running right and shifting properly, then you can bury it, as they say. In addition to the codes that you have, there's also a few relays that you need to put in that don't come with the kit because these are open options that they couldn't possibly know every way you want to wire this stuff. So the fans, for example, will be switched through the ECU based on internal engine temperature, but you have to wire them in to switch on the ground leg. And if that was too much for you, you might not want to try this because that's the easy part. The hard part is going through the individual codes. Let's touch on a few of them. First of all, things like the ambient air circuit open. That means the computer doesn't know what temperature it is outside, and that's because that sensor's gone. It was in the F150 or the Mustang. I also have like 4 others, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's actually 5, evaporative system codes. Well, there is no more evaporative system. So there's other things like intermediate shaft and coils, and it all is very technical, but you have to go through one at a time and solve them. Once you get them solved, then you can drive the truck slowly and listen to it shift where it's supposed to, then it can begin to learn. One of the things that this engine doesn't like is this number 7 coil, and I have switched it with a known good coil and it still isn't firing, so really it's only running on 7. And that's typical when you do this much stuff. So this here, I need to test it. The purple on each one is hot. The purple wire is hot, so what I'm going to do is rig up a test light and fire the engine, and if this blinks, then the signal is coming correct. Now if this doesn't blink, then I have to check continuity between this hot pin and the ECU engine plug over there. I'll have to make sure there's no break or incorrectly pinned connection. So that's what you have to do with every single thing that this wants. A lot of times you'll just plug these in and they'll run perfect, and other times they're just complainers. Everybody knows one of those. Now, this light should either come on or blink. got power to the coil. So we have power to the coil, which could mean the driver is bad, meaning the ECU isn't sending the signal to turn it on and off. Because you can hear, if you unplug another one, you can hear the engine change. But not with that one. I have continuity to the power wire on pin 83. So pin 84 should be the call wire. So let me go switch that and we'll see if I get continuity. And that was pin 83, that's pin 84. I have it. Okay, so I have continuity between the lead wires on the coil, and I have power to the coil. So the next thing would be whether or not the ECU is delivering the correct signal. So it has come to my attention that after doing all of the continuity checks between plugs, which are basically command wires, you know, series of switches is all they simply are, we've got a faulty ECU. This ECU is no longer sending the correct driver signal to coil number 7, and it's also getting some conflicting signals for the transmission. It's coming up with internal codes that I have verified are not factual. So what that means is this computer needs to be replaced. So what did we learn? We learned that the coil is good, we learned that the plug is good. We also learned that these things run really, really well on 7 cylinders. But I could tell that wasn't exactly right. So that's what led me down this path, not to mention the OBD2 and the 26 codes that it had. Now, I narrowed them all the way down to 3. And the 3 main codes are: 1, this ECU is not igniting that coil. And this is a non-repairable item, so unfortunately, this goes in the bin, and we have to find another used ECU and send it out to have it flashed to match this engine. We'll get those steps put in eventually. Waiting for the ECU to come back, and we'll get back to testing all of the circuits. I decided to put these side steps when you open the door. That will happen. I've got them mounted. I just need to do a little more fab on the sides to hold the brackets, and then also wire them so that they work. But for right now, that's that. So let me get this done. I want to see if I can get that to function today yet. One of the cool, interesting things about these is they're made specific for years of current model vehicles, not these old ones. So not only did I have to cut those down and move the caps and the mounting brackets, but I also had to fabricate brackets that hold all this business. What makes it really interesting is that these will work when you open the door. The minute you open the door, you ground that wire just like I did, and these will come out. And they'll also have a light. There'll be a light on it, so in case it's night, you'll see the step and it'll be all happy. But they don't have a door ajar light that switches the same way that does. So I got these. And I'm going to drill into the door, and I'm going to make sure that it makes and breaks the way it's supposed to, makes and breaks contact. But I definitely have to get that to fit. They'll push in and they snap. And once they snap in, when the door is closed, it breaks the contact. And when you open the door, it makes the contact. And that's how those will work. Door open. 2-second delay when the door is closed. It says in the paperwork. 1, 2. Actually more like 3 probably. But either way, they're going to work. And I've got a ton of, as you can see, wiring to do. All this has to be mounted, hidden, secured, strapped, screwed down. I have to drill and make wires for this because they don't come with them. So all of that will get done. And the next time you see this truck, you'll hit these doors and that baby will come out. Hopefully the ECU will be back and we can get it running on all of its cylinders. It has passed all the temperature tests. It drives. It's not shifting right, but I also believe that was part of the ECU problem. Oh, and I've been randomly filling this up with all the extra stuff that I don't need. The next time you see this truck, it'll be on the road, and I'm going to do some in-car filming. We're going to do a couple of donuts in 4-wheel drive out in the back. It's coming up on winter, so I don't care if I chew up the grass. It'll be neat. I might even mount a couple of GoPros down on the side of this thing just for added grass pitch. So yeah, if you go back and look at some of the other videos on this build, it's been quite an ongoing process. From all of the sheet metal, sectioning the bed, this box actually, we took 5 inches out of the length of this bed. You can see all that on some of the older videos. Any of the videos that you see this era truck, it's this same truck. It's gone through a ton of work and we're excited to be this close. Right now I can start it and take it out and drive it around in the yard and bring it back. It's not road ready yet. We got to get that ECU right. We got to get the trans shifting right. We got to finish the interior, do the AC system. But it's so close. We are definitely rounding the final curves. If you like this truck and you want to see this truck on the road, hit that subscribe button. I encourage you to go back and look at some of the other videos. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.